Hi, friends. Today I want to share a story with you. I hope you enjoy it. I had worked at Coleman Tech Systems for 15 years. I helped build the company's brand, grow its influence, and keep it alive, even though the CEO, Sebastian Coleman, often made bad decisions. Now, I was sitting in his fancy glass-walled office, and he was about to insult me one last time. Sebastian leaned back in his chair, smiling like he was proud of himself. He wore a perfect suit and a shiny watch. You could tell he was enjoying this moment. "Fanny, you've been very important to this company," he said. "But we need new ideas. So we're hiring Frank Goldman as the new marketing director. I want you to train him before you move on." I felt a heavy feeling in my stomach, but I stayed calm. He wasn't just letting me go. He was trying to embarrass me. 15 years of hard work meant nothing to him. He watched me closely, waiting to see how I'd react. But I didn't give him the satisfaction. "I see," I said. "When do we start?" "Monday," he replied, clearly happy with himself. "Frank will be learning from you. I expect you to help him fully." I almost laughed. He had no idea. While he was busy running the company into the ground, I had been secretly saving it. For over 4 years, I had been buying shares through my own company, FF Ventures Innovations. As of last week, I owned Coleman Tech Systems. Sebastian was firing me from a company that was now mine. I stood up and straightened my skirt. "Of course, Sebastian. I'll help however I can." He looked relieved. "Good. I knew you'd handle this like a pro." I smiled politely. "Oh, I wouldn't do it any other way." As I walked out of his office, my heels clicking on the marble floor, I took out my phone and sent a quick text to my lawyers. "Schedule the emergency board meeting. It's time." Then I sat back down at my own desk, gently touching a photo of William Coleman, the man who started this company. He stood next to me in the picture, his hand on my shoulder. He believed in doing the right thing and creating something meaningful. Sadly, his son Sebastian had turned it all into a joke. I saw the warning signs a long time ago. Sebastian was spending money carelessly, scaring away investors, and good employees kept quitting. When the company's stock started to fall, he brushed it off, saying it was just the market. But I knew better. It was my chance. For over 4 years, I quietly bought shares of Coleman Tech through my company, FF Ventures Innovations. Every time the stock dropped or Sebastian made a bad move, I used it to get closer to owning the company. Now, as I sipped my coffee, my assistant Lorna walked in with a serious look on her face. "The board meeting is set for tomorrow at 9, she said. "Sebastian doesn't suspect anything." I nodded. "Good. He thinks I'm just another victim of his bad leadership." She paused. "Are you sure about this, Fanny? There's no going back once this starts." I put down my cup. "Lorna, he fired me from the company I now own. Tomorrow, he finds out the truth." At 8:55 a.m., just 5 minutes before the board meeting, the official news would go out. I was the new majority owner of Coleman Tech Systems. Inside the boardroom, it was quiet. The directors sat in their leather chairs, whispering to each other while checking their tablets. Sebastian sat at the head of the table, tapping his fingers, clearly annoyed. Then the door opened. I walked in calmly, each step firm and confident. Sebastian stared at me, still feeling proud of how he treated me the day before. "You don't belong here, Fanny," he said coldly, forcing a smile. "You don't have a seat anymore." I placed a thick folder in front of him. "Actually, Sebastian, I have the only seat that matters." His smile faded as he opened the folder. Around him, the board members started checking their devices, reading the headlines. FF Ventures Innovations acquires controlling shares in Coleman Tech Systems. Sebastian's face turned pale. He gripped the folder tightly. "What is this?" "Ownership documents," I said calmly. "Over the past 4.5 years, I've been buying shares through my firm. As of this morning, I own 61% of the company." The room went silent. One board member, Judith, spoke up. "Is this true?" "It is," I said, handing her another paper. "And now, as the majority owner, I'm calling for a vote to remove Sebastian Coleman as CEO." Sebastian jumped to his feet, his face red. "You can't do this." "Sit down," I said firmly. This is business, Sebastian. You've played this game your whole life. Now you've lost. He glared at me, but slowly sat down. The board looked at each other. Then, one by one, they raised their hands in agreement. Sebastian's breathing was shaky. You can't do this, he said again. This company is mine. My father built this company. And you almost destroyed it, I said firmly. William Coleman stood for innovation, honesty, and real leadership. I pointed to the reports on the table. Led this company to its worst place in years. Bad choices. Chaos inside. Investors pulling out. You turned your father's dream into a disaster. Sebastian's fists clenched. He looked around the boardroom for support, but the board members were done with him. No one stood by his side. The vote was unanimous. Sebastian slumped in his chair. He finally realized the truth. He had lost everything. I had outsmarted him, and now he was out. As I walked through the office halls, people watched from their desks, whispering. But this time, I wasn't just a marketing director. I was the owner of Coleman Tech Systems. Change was coming, and they all felt it. In the boardroom, a few senior employees waited. One of them was Frank Goldman, the man Sebastian brought in to replace me. He leaned against the table, looking confident, like he was in charge. So, why am I here? He asked with a smirk. I slid a document across the table. You're being let go. His smile dropped. Excuse me? You were hired by Sebastian. He's no longer part of this company. That makes your role unnecessary. He looked around the room, hoping someone would speak up for him. No one did. You're making a big mistake, he muttered, grabbing the letter and walking out in anger. I turned to the rest of the team. That's one problem solved. Now, let's fix the company. Judith, a board member who had supported me, leaned forward. Where do we begin? I took a breath and laid out the plan. First, we bring back the people Sebastian pushed out, the smart, loyal employees he ignored. HR will reach out with offers today. The room nodded in agreement. Next, we restart the mentorship programs. Coleman Tech was once known for helping young talent grow. That's coming back, starting now. People murmured in support. And finally, I said, we need to rebuild trust. Our reputation is damaged. Investors are nervous. Clients are unsure. I'll personally reach out to our biggest accounts and show them we're turning things around. A young department head raised his hand. What about Sebastian? He's not the type to give up quietly. I looked him in the eye and smiled. Let him yell. It won't change a thing. He's out and we're moving forward. The meeting ended. As I walked out, I saw people looking more hopeful than they had in years. For the first time in a long time, Coleman Tech had a future. Sebastian was never good at losing. His fall had been public, painful, and his own fault. But he wasn't finished yet. Not long after, he barged into my office, red-faced and furious. He didn't even knock. You think you've won, Fanny? He shouted. You stole my company. I stayed calm. Your company? I raised an eyebrow. You destroyed it. I saved it. You were just an employee, he snapped. I built this company. No, I said, firm and clear. Your father did, and I respected him too much to let you ruin what he built. His face twitched with anger. I'll sue. I'll take you down. I calmly slid a thick folder across the desk. Go ahead, I said. But this folder holds everything. Proof of your mistakes, lost money, and shady deals. If you try anything, I'll send this to the authorities. The SEC will tear it apart. He looked at the folder but didn't touch it. You wouldn't. I smiled coldly. Try me. He stood there, breathing heavily. Then, without another word, he turned and stormed out, slamming the door behind him so hard the glass rattled. I looked out at the city through my window and exhaled. It was over. Friends, what do you think of this story? Let me know in the comments. Would you like more powerful stories like this? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss an upload. See you in the next video.